I just want to point out he's back here because he's complying with what we were making him do after we gave him approval for what he's already come in. So now we're telling him, yes, you can have permission. Go and get permits. Oh, you're getting permits? No, you can't do it.
And I had a...
Okay, so for the board members who weren't here in August, we granted him secondary without a primary for the big garage in the northwest corner. In addition to 100% lot coverage in concrete for the house because it faces to the south. If Mr. Neely didn't add on to his house and didn't request a permit, and nothing substantially changed since August, how did we get a request for something that I'm confused?
I am too.
When the variances were granted in August, one of the things that we reminded Mr. Neely of was that these items were going to need permits. When we looked at the items that were needing permits, we noticed that one of the additions to the house was built over the property line. Anna, if you can go to the aerial, please. And that would be the western addition that was built across the property line.
Staff is just now figuring this out, so it's a technicality that's brought it back up, correct? Or am I incorrect?
Because of this, that one lot can no longer be considered by itself as a standalone lot. It has to be considered one premise, which we can do because they are adjacent lots owned by the same property owner. When you look at the property in totality, which Mr. Neely was not interested in doing.
But my primary use, it does cross the property, the platted line.
There is no record of the building additions that would cross the property line, so we can't consider it.
Just look at the picture and you can see the house.
There's no permits for it, so we can't consider it.
All right. Well, just let it be known that the property, my house it is sitting on both properties.
When he was here this summer, we now have two garages on the property. One that is 600 square feet and one that is 1,600 square feet.
I think we're nitpicking this property.
Under our current ordinance, one garage is allowed on properties that are less than half an acre. The two combined properties are 15,000 square feet, which is less than half an acre, which is why he's here.
Okay, so for the board members who weren't here in August, we granted him secondary without a primary for the big garage in the northwest corner. In addition to 100% lot coverage in concrete for the house because it faces to the south. I don't know Polly well. Mr. Neely seems to be an upstanding citizen who's well supported by his neighbors. Thank you guys for sitting around all day. I know it's not a lot of fun to sit up here sometimes. I'm going to support the motion and I'll second it.
If there's no more questions, we'll close the public hearing.
I just want to point out he's back here because he's complying with what we were making him do after we gave him approval for what he's already come in. So now we're telling him, yes, you can have permission. Go and get permits. Oh, you're getting permits? No, you can't do it.
And I had a permit. That building, I went and got a permit.
So he's being punished for following the rules now. After he's been given approval to have all the things that he's been done. That's my opinion.
I'm sorry, ma'am, it's not appropriate.
I had a permit to build it when it got built.
Staff, my understanding though is that this is back because now it's considered one property instead of two, correct?
No, it's considered two properties. Oh, okay.
If
The public is closed.
we do not consider the property one premise, then his western addition to his house is going to have to be removed because it's over the property. Accessory structures that exceed the 200 square foot maximum, as well as the third variance to have the continued use of a secondary use without a primary use on a residential lot.
Yes, sir. Name and address.
Where I live at is in the east side of Fort Worth. A lot of tall grass, a lot of weeds. And I started off just calling the code enforcement officer to try to get some of the grass and weeds cut, you know, in our area. And he kind of had an attitude with me. Instead of getting the tall grass cut, he decided to come over my house, and so here I am today. That's a structure that I have in my backyard. It's about a 40 by 40 8-car garage. I don't know what the deal is, but we got a permit to build it about 5 years ago.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application?
And since the Neelys moved in, they have really improved the neighborhood with their house. It makes the neighborhood look totally different. And I don't have a problem with anything.
Okay, thank you.
She makes me say the basic things that is going on there. But he does keep everything well taken care of. He's very responsible with his yard, and it represents who he is and what his job is. But we don't have a problem with him at all. Thank you.
And he keep it, he's got the best looking place in Polly. And I'm just asking the board, please, don't ask him to change anything about it, because really it's good for the neighborhood, because it looks good, it's kept clean, the yard is kept up. It's an example for the rest of the people who live in Polly to follow his lead. It's nothing wrong with his place. I thank y'all.
Thank you.
I've been in my house 20 years. I was there before the Neelys moved in, and trust me, that is a big improvement on that corner since they moved in. And they've been there about 13 years. So I've been there a while. I've seen the neighborhood, and the neighborhood has come up since he's been there. People are starting to take better care of their yards and everything.
You finished?
I don't really have much to say. I just kind of hate to have to go through this, and I really hope that y'all listen to what my neighbors have to say.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this case? Close the hearing, and we're ready for questions. Mr. George.
I think sometimes, what's the word? I don't want to, you overlook stuff. You've got all these neighbors supporting the man with the best looking yard in Polly. And I'm not going to be one to tell him he has to change it.
Thank you so much.
They're in favor of keeping your residence as it is, but that's not what we're addressing. We're addressing the property that's beside it. Have you considered platting them together?
I haven't really considered it. I just didn't really think it was necessary to do that.
And then also, you said that 40 by 40 building in the back, you said you had a permit for that?
Yes.
To put it up from the city?
You say, what's that?
You got a permit from the city to put that one up?
Yes.
Do you think you may want to consider talking to the city about replatting that lot to see if that will meet the requirements as one piece of property instead of two separate ones? Because if no one lives in those storage buildings, then I think that's part of the issue. You can't have a lot without a primary residence.
Ms.
And the
Smith?
other issue is just the concrete, because it's taking up percentage of the front yard.
Ms. Smith, if the lots were platted together, he would still need item B, and it would probably be a larger variance than what is on the agenda right now. Right now, the site that we're looking at has approximately 1,700 square feet of storage buildings. The residential lot that is to the east has additional storage buildings on it as well.
But my primary use, it does cross the property, the platted line.
There is no record
Not
of,
not legal.
of the building additions that would cross the property line, so we can't
Well,
consider
you
it.
just look at the picture and you can see the house.
There's no permits for it, so we can't consider it.
All right. Well, just let it be known that the property, my house it is sitting on both properties.
How long has it been that way?
Over 5 years. I mean, nothing changed at my house in over 5 years. The only thing that changed is, I called the code enforcement officer a couple of times trying to get tall grass cut, and then he come over my house,
I'm familiar with this side of town, and it's one of our oldest neighborhoods. And there are many substandard buildings and houses with deferred maintenance because it is a core section of town. And I'm having a hard time not approving this because it is one of the better properties in the whole area. Mr. Myers?
Ms. Givens, did you have something to add to this? Yes. Go up to the mic. Anything to say? Mr. Chairman, this board would not be in existence if there weren't times that you made adjustments to the rules. And I'm going to vote for the best looking house in Polly and move approval of BAR 14-126.
Where the home is, so we have to consider them as two separate lots. So I really appreciate that you've gotten the support of your neighbors, because I just want to say that without their support, I don't think I could support this. But you have your neighbors' support on this, and I think that is important.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I had their support, and I'm glad you realize that from a.
I think we need to keep in mind that Polly is one of the older neighborhoods in Fort Worth, and it was developed at a time when a lot of these zoning ordinances are not in effect yet. All you have to do is look at the aerial photo we have, and you can see all kinds of setbacks and all kinds of outbuildings. And there's just a lot of variations in Polly, so I don't think we need to focus too much on one property and say that it's different from all the rest. Mr. Smith, Ms. Smith.
Well, I understand what they're saying about precedent, but the way I see it is because it's zoned residential and it's an individual lot. If it were to be approved, then whoever buys it could keep the big shop that wasn't permitted, the
It's
other
not
building.
we don't have a big shop.
The 40 by 40,
It's not a shop.
well, garage.
It's a garage.
Further discussion of the motion to approve. I encourage everyone to take a drive through Polly. Please vote. Motion is approved. 8 affirmative votes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is VAR 14-128, Ray Baldwin by James Shell. Neil Neely III at 2835 and 2837 Fitzhugh Avenue. The first request is in an A51 family district to permit the continued use of a second garage on a single residential lot less than half an acre where one garage is allowed. And the second variance is to permit the continued use of an addition to the primary residence that encroaches 7 feet into the 10-foot side yard setback.
We came before the board in August about the additional lot. There used to be an empty lot, the lot that's next door to our house, to our primary residence. And, that stuff was approved. We haven't been able to get permits for that stuff yet, because when we go down to try to get permits, they said we had to come do this first. they say we need it for the 2 garages. I'm not really know what that's about, but
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor?
I just feel like, you know, there's other things in the neighborhood that the code compliance would be looking at. You know, we have chickens running around, goats in my yard, you know, so, you know, I just feel like there's other things that could be looked at and paid closer attention to than just keep messing with Neil and his family, and he's just trying to provide a living for his family. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor?
Good evening. My name is Ruth Gillis, and I live at 2831 Crenshaw, zip code 76105. I'm here to speak for Neil because I was here back in the summer with him also, and I just don't understand what the problem is with Neil. Why is there a problem with Neil's home in the way he keep it? Because really, it's a compliment to Polly. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, sometimes if you don't have nothing to do, please ride through Polly and pass Neil's house and then go on further on down the street. I don't understand, and I've been in Polly. I got moved in my home in 1990, and his home is a compliment to the neighborhood because I could go to church, go all the way down Crenshaw and get on Vaughn and go to church. But I don't like what I see on down Crenshaw, so I turn and go by Neil's house. And this is the truth, y'all. And go by Neil's house because it's so encouraging. Because if you don't get what you're going to get while you're young, when you get my age, you can forget it. And he really is a compliment. A young black man that's trying to have something to raise his kids, and I put him on welfare. He's providing for them. I really admire him because in my lifetime, I have seen a whole lot of things that was different. And I'm just begging y'all, please. It's nothing wrong with what he got going on over there. And it's decent and in order. And code enforcers, I don't know how they could complain against him when they riding past. Oh man, why try to judge what you can't see when you're not doing anything about what you're looking at? And if you don't believe me, like I say, sometimes you ain't got nothing to do, just ride through Potley. Maybe you can help me out some, because the people next to me, he don't even pick up the trash when he mow the lot over there. And then when I mow my yard, because can't afford no lawn man, I have to get out there and mow my yard and pick up his trash too. Yo, please. Oh my goodness. Y'all please just hear me and understand what I'm trying to say. Well, I thank y'all for your patience and for listening. Thank you.
This time,
we came before the board in August about the additional lot. There used to be an empty lot, the lot that's next door to our house, to our primary residence. And, you know, that stuff was approved. We haven't been able to get permits for that stuff yet because when we go down and try to get permits, they said we had to come do this first.
Thank you.
Ms. Brown.
This is actually 2 lots.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
They're 2 lots. And so I guess, I wasn't here when you came, I guess, in the summertime. But am I correct, and I'll ask staff, am I not correct that if he had those lots replatted, the addition to the house would not be an issue?
The addition to the house that we have noted is the one on the eastern side of the property, not the one on the western side of the property that crosses the property line.
Okay.
We didn't notice for that variance because when you consider it as one premise, that one's not the issue. It's the one on the
On the other
east
side.
because they have a 10-foot building setback line on that side.
And then it's the back garage that's at issue?
It's the back two garages.
Okay.
As Mr. Neely noted, there's a small residential garage that's just north of his existing house. And then there is the additional garage that is on the second lot. When you consider the lots together as one premise, which is what Mr. Neely asked us to not do in the summer, then we had only looked at the western lot. And so when you look at each lot, they have one garage. When you look at them as one premise, now we have two garages, and he is unable to get building permits for the items that are on the lot that we considered this summer.
So on a lot, it could not have a residence and have a garage, which is basically what you're talking about on the west side. I mean, there's two of them there now. But he could legally, even though there's not a residence over there, he could have a garage. Is that?
He can only have one garage by right, based on his lot, because he has less than half an acre, even when you combine the two lots together.
Okay.
And so that's where we are looking at the issue, is that we have two garages on one premise.
Well, I was, when I came in the first time to get the variance for the one building, I thought that was bad. Even though I wasn't allowed to get the permit for it, but the board addressed it and allowed to continue use of that one building. The garage behind my house, it's been there, I guess, since the house was built. I don't know. They go, what I was saying, I don't understand about the two garages, because one of them been there forever.
Mr. Neely,
Yes.
your time to speak is over.
Oh, okay.
It's now time for the board to ask questions.
Oh, okay.
So unless it's specifically answering to a question from the board members, we need to move on.
Are you talking about the second garage that's behind my house, or the additional garage that I built that we already addressed?
Well, both, or either or. I'm looking for.
One lot, it's two lots. That's why it's two garages. I bought the additional lot next door to my house for the additional space. We just need extra space. Who wouldn't want extra space? You can have it,
Hardship to have two garages, and it is considered one property now, not two.
No, it's considered two. They're not applied together in no kind of way.
It's not platted together, correct, but as staff has said, since it's built over onto two properties, it is now considered one property, so it doesn't need to be replatted.
Okay, well, I have paperwork
And I'm
from
sorry,
the first case where y'all was saying that it was considered
Mr. Neely.
two different properties.
Mr. Neely, I'm not asking you a question, I'm just expressing the
Okay.
time for you to speak is over unless you have a specific question. So we're gonna move on to Mr. Gutierrez.
When you added this addition, did you get a permit?
When I added the second garage, we did.
To the house?
No, we didn't.
You wasn't aware that you needed a permit from
At the time,
last meeting? From the last meeting?
Go ahead, finish.
Didn't we have one that last summer?
In August, but all this part, I built this maybe 7 years ago.
7 years ago, and it's just coming up now?
Yes, I have nothing.
Mr. Logan.
Polly is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Fort Worth, and it was developed erratically before a lot of zoning ordinances. There are a lot of various setbacks in the area, a lot of differences, quality and condition of the houses in the area. This particular property is in better condition than many of the properties in the area, and effectively it's a commercial property because it faces the freeway. So I move to approve.
Mr. Chappell.
I'm
Or do we have a
gonna
second?
follow up with seconding.
My understanding, though, is that this is back because now it's considered one property instead of two, correct?
No, it's considered two properties. Oh, okay.
If
The public is closed.
If we do not consider the property one premise, then his western property, his western addition to his house is going to have to be removed because it's over the property line.
So I think that's the difference, is that now there is, his house was added on, which goes over the property line, which then makes it,
It was there in August, and staff is just now figuring this out. So it's a technicality that's brought it back up, correct? Or am I incorrect?
The items that Mr. Neely had on the site plan for the first case did not include any additions to the western side of the house.
And it wasn't present, it wasn't clear from staff inspection or from aerials such as this that that work had not been done.
It was not one of the items that Mr. Neely asked us to review.
Okay.
thank you for your thoughts though, Mr. Chappell. Appreciate it. If there's no more discussion, then we will begin voting. We are voting on A. A did not pass. We are now voting on item B, request for variance to continue use of a addition to the primary residence that encroaches 7 foot into the 10-yard setback. Please vote. This item passes.
Because, I mean, what am I supposed to do?